And that's why the more you get to know about certain people, the more you realize how prejudiced they are and racially motivated they are. And now race, I don't want to get too hung up on the race, like race is the only prejudice thing there is, because they got the same thing with sexually confused people, and really it's all based. They all have the same problem. They all have the same problem. They're disrespectful. Anybody that's racial or prejudiced, they're disrespectful towards others. You can come up with any kind of excuse. It doesn't make any difference at all. I say, yeah, I'm not. You notice I'm not really talking a whole lot about on Mexican kind of stuff because I don't have any or that much experience having racial problems with Mexicans or Latinos and stuff like that. I think I did say something. I had a problem in Vietnam, and it was a guy from Costa Rica. He was a sergeant, and we didn't get along at all. And I really can't tell you why, but I know we really had a lot of problems. Bad enough, I told him that if I ever catch him back outside Vietnam, I was going to kill him. And he gave me a hard time all the time. And so, yes, I lose respect for people that give me a hard time all the time. A lot of times people give me a hard time at first. That's no big deal. They don't know you. There's no big deal. They might have a problem they got to deal with. And that's why I look at it. I say, well, you had a bad day today. This guy's got a problem. No big deal. Let him go. But if it looks like it's a continued a continued habit, when it is of not taking care of yourself, not being respectful and thoughtful towards others, then I start getting a kind of a pissy attitude. And so that's what I had with him. But I know a lot of it was I'm taking orders from somebody, and his English was a little bit better than my Spanish. So, in other words, I didn't understand a lot of things he said. So he's telling me things that if I misunderstand, somebody's going to die, and it won't be the enemy. And I had problems with this, and I couldn't get away from it. And I don't know how it finally ended up, but I know a lot of it was he was punishing me a lot. And it's hard to punish people in a war zone, so it was funny. But anyway, so I really don't have that much experience with Latinos or Mexicans when I was younger. Now I live down here, so now I get a lot of experience with them. But like I say, it really doesn't count because now I'm older, I'm wiser, I am fit. It's hard for people to give me lip now, to be disrespectful to me. It's hard because I've got the capabilities of fighting back. And it's funny because it still happens. It still happens. Like I say, military, police, bandits, this type of stuff. Why? Because there's a gang, there's a group of them. And then, so they got their peer pressure, and their peer pressure is what tries to give them the courage to, disrespect me. So, but it's okay. And they get authority, I say police, military, sometimes they feel like they have authority over you. You know how that is. And now, it's easier now. Talking about that, let me tell you another story. Uh, I told you, I was born and raised in Topeka. I moved down to the Kansas-Oklahoma line when I was about 16, 17, about 17 years old. And the reason was I was having so much trouble in Topeka. Topeka is a northern town, northern attitude. And I had a lot of trouble in Topeka. And they kept saying that I was a criminal. I mean, I did a lot of bad things. But I mean, I was a teenager and no mother. So and my dad worked all the time, so I was usually by myself. I was by myself, I say, 6, 7 years old. That's when I was pretty much by myself. My dad went to work, ate in the morning. He fed me breakfast before he'd go to work. And then he'd either give me money or my stepmom would give me money so I could go have hamburgers or go out to eat. So I went out to eat lunch and supper, or I'd eat at my friend's house. So, that's from, like I say, 6 or 7 years old on up. And I get on my bicycle, ride all over town. But I say, so I got pretty ornery. So anyway, I was down at the Kansas-Oklahoma line. Now down there, the old farts like me, like I am now, these are old farts. Whenever I did something ornery, they'd whack me upside the back of the head and say, "Boy, you're being stupid, don't do that anymore." And I just don't do it. That's how I learned. Whack me upside the head, and, not with brutality. I mean, you're just like a kid. You whack a kid upside the head, not with pain, just get his attention. And so that's what happened. That's when I got down there. One time, let's say we had restaurants. One time I was working at the restaurant, and I got done cleaning up and everything. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I went to the next town. And when I went to the next town, I went over. They had a restaurant there that was open 24 hours, and I went over there and ate. And then when I left, the police stopped me. And I said, I'm 17 years old. The police stopped me, took me down to the station. And this would have been back in mid-60s, 65. About 66, 67, something like that. And took me down to the station. And then they interrogated me. I say, I'm 17 years old. This is the first time I had this happen to me. And they said, well, they asked me if I wanted to confess to breaking into the gas station. And I told them, no, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to confess to that. And then they showed me, they had this screwdriver and some red paint on it. And they said that paint came from the cigarette machine in the gas station. And the screwdriver came from my car. And I told them, no, it didn't come from my car. It was not my screwdriver. And I didn't break into no gas station. Then they came out with a hose. And so he's taking his hose and he's slapping his hand, and insinuating that they're getting ready to hose me. And what I do, I treated them respectfully. Even though they weren't treating me respectfully, I still treated them respectfully. And they kept insisting that I should confess. And this kept on. I think they held me for about 2 hours. I think it was about 4 or 5 in the morning before I left. And finally, I told them. I said, "I'll tell you what. I don't think we're getting anywhere. But what you need to do is you need to arrest me if you think that I broke into this gas station. Because I'm not going to confess to something I didn't do. So if you're thinking I want to confess and then you're going to arrest me, it's not going to happen. So you can go on and arrest me. And then I'm going to call my attorney. And I told him who my attorney was. And my attorney was pretty much well known in the area. It's a little small town. And I said, other than that, you can arrest me, I can call my attorney, or I can go on and call my attorney, and then you can release me, or you can just release me. No harm is done. I can go on my way, and you can continue your investigation. I was respectful towards him. And they released me. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if it was because I'm Chinese and that's why they did it. I'm not sure if it's just I was young and that gave them the idea they could do it. You got to remember, like I say, I've owned my own businesses pretty much all my life. And even at that time, I had businesses. So, trying to intimidate was not a good thing. When I didn't mention this, but when I was living in the United States, up in Topeka, I was constantly under racial attacks. Like I say, I ended up having to quit school in February, my senior year, because I had multiple racial attacks in school and going to school and leaving school.